This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Clothed in firm but mostly polite language came right out into the open today. Name-calling reached such a personal level that for a while it looked like the conference was in jeopardy. Our first report is from ABC's John McQuethy.
Prime Minister Shamir was the first to speak, plunging into a biting attack on Syria that set the tone for the day.
Syria is the home of a host of terrorist organizations that spread violence and death to all kinds of innocent targets. Syria merits the dubious honor of being one of the most oppressive, tyrannical regimes in the world.
As arranged ahead of time, Shamir then left the conference to return to Israel in time for the Sabbath. To Shamir's empty chair, Syrian Foreign Minister Shara, visibly angry, delivered a stinging response. He accused Shamir of helping to murder a very senior UN official in 1948 when Shamir was part of the Israeli underground fighting to overthrow British rule of what was in Palestine. Shara held up a wanted poster with Shamir's picture on it as a young man.
لأنه مطلوب للعدالة. Wanted.
It was distributed because he was wanted. He himself recognized that he was a terrorist and that he helped in the assassination of Count Bernadotte, the UN mediator in Palestine. He killed peace mediators.
Then it was Bakker's turn. He scolded the delegates for failing to make any positive gestures to smooth the way toward progress. He warned them that failing to take the next step to one-on-one talks because of bickering over where those talks would be was simply unacceptable.
It would be very difficult to understand how a party could now refuse to attend bilateral negotiations simply because of a disagreement over the site of those negotiations.
It is classic Bakker. Force reluctant leaders to take another step by playing on their strong desire not to be labeled as the man that wrecked the peace process because he could not agree to some petty detail. John McQuethy, ABC News, Madrid.
At that point, the mood in Madrid, which had been going up and down for several days, was down about as far as it could go. Mr. Bakker was trying to arrange for at least one more meeting on Sunday between the Israelis and each of the Arab delegations. The Palestinians said yes, so did Israel and Jordan, but not Syria. ABC's Dean Reynolds on how the afternoon played out.
They trooped out of the palace this afternoon, clearly uncertain of their next step. Would they stay in Madrid for at least one set of direct talks or pack their bags and go home? Israel has agreed to a first meeting here on Sunday, but insists on an immediate shift thereafter to the Middle East.
Why do we have to go around circling the globe looking for this city or that city? Why shouldn't we talk peace where peace is most needed?
That position struck the Arabs as a trick, designed to avoid the direct talks Israel has claimed it has always wanted.
We understand what the Israelis are doing now, and we understand they are trying to distract from the whole process, but I don't think we will let them do so.
In fact, diplomatic sources said the Israelis, after hearing some strong American arguments, may be more flexible than they sound and might accept Washington as the next site, if only to keep the process alive. Sources say the Syrians remain the most difficult on all of this. They were saying today they would bolt, unless assured that the talks would continue here in Madrid and nowhere else. But at a meeting tonight, the other Arab delegates urged the Syrians to lower their political temperature and join them all at the table, at least on Sunday. After some additional American arm twisting, U.S. officials had the feeling tonight that in the end, the Syrians too will come along.
It should be noted that the only thing the parties will talk about on Sunday, if they meet, is where they will meet next. And that could start this bewildering argument all over again. Dean Reynolds, ABC News, Madrid.
In the Middle East itself today, Israeli warplanes bombed southern Lebanon again, an area where there are reportedly a number of bases belonging to the guerrilla group Hezbollah. No word on casualties. It is Israel's third attack such this week. Still overseas, in the Russian Republic today, Boris Yeltsin's plans for radical economic reform were approved by the Republic's parliament. It means, among other things, that beginning next year, the government will no longer subsidize the price of food and most other consumer goods. In Africa, Kenneth Kaunda, the man who has ruled Zambia since it became independent 27 years ago, has been voted out of office. It was only after food riots last year that he agreed to let anyone run against him. The winner by a landslide, Frederick Chiluba, the country's most prominent labor leader. When we come back, the mayoralty race in Houston.